So today we're doing 4-9 notes. These piggyback off of what we did on Friday. So there's going to be a lot of similarities here, a lot of review. These problems are word problems, and they're also comparison problems. So we're looking at two different representations with each problem. Your three representations are an equation, a graph, and a table. You'll be given two of them per problem, and we're going to look at information for each one and answer a question. Number 1, Siddharth and Mariana are throwing a baseball straight up in the air. The height of the baseball in feet in one of Siddharth's throws can be described by the following function, where x is the number of seconds since he threw the ball. F of x, which we know just is y, equals negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 4. Now, we don't know what we're looking for yet, but let's at least get a sketch, a graph made for a visual. Again, this equation represents Siddharth's throw. So I'm going to have Siddharth. And he has a baseball. Bless you. And he's going to toss this up in the air, and the goal is to get it as high as possible. So he's not going to throw it out, but toss it up. So it's going to go up, and it's going to come back down. Yeah. This time our equation just has x and y, so the x and y axes are the x and y axes. There's no h and t this time. We'll come back to this drawing in a moment. Second representation, the height of the baseball in one of Mariana's throws is given by the following graph. So this graph represents Mariana's throw. And we've already got a graph, so we don't have to make one. The question we're answering is whose baseball went higher? This is very easy to answer for Mariana. We already have the graph filled out for us. How high did Mariana's ball go?
16.
Mm-hmm. 16 feet, that's as tall as it went.
Dang, she got hard.
For Siddharth, this is going to take more work to get the same piece of information. So we're looking for this point here, and specifically the y value of that point. That's the goal. What's the name of that point? It's a maximum. What else do we call it? The vertex. So we're looking for the vertex and specifically the y value. Let's review how to do that. Our equation is y equals negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 4. And to find the vertex, how do we find the x? Negative b over 2a. X equals negative b over 2a. It's in the quadratic formula. We find x, and then how do we find y? Just plug it in. Plug in x to find y. That's very much review from Friday. We have a, b, c in our equation already. A is negative 16, b is 64, c is 4. We're going to plug that in to find x. X equals negative b over 2a. That's negative, our b value is 64. Over 2 times a, which is negative 16. That gives us negative 64. Over 2 times negative 16, that's negative 32. And if I divide those, I get positive 2. Reminder, the goal here is to find the y value, so we're not done. Our equation is y equals negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 4. And we now know that x is 2. So I'm going to plug in 2 for x. Y equals negative 16 times 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 4. And we'll let our calculator get that number for us. Negative 16 times 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 4. And that gets us positive 68. So adding to our graph here, we found that this x value was just 2. And then what we were looking for, that turned out to be 68 feet. So the overall question, whose baseball went higher? Clearly, Sid Harth's went all the way up to 68 feet, so Sid Harth's baseball went higher.
Is Sid Harth a female or a male?
Male.
And Marina's a female?
Just read the full sentence. It's just answer the question.
It's simple biology, really.
Well, we're doing the actual calculations here. Any questions on the first example?
No, man.
On the back, we have another one. This one's going to take far less time because there is no equation. Easton and Luciano are each starting their own businesses. Their first step was to do an analysis to determine how they should price their products. Easton found the following data in the table shown, where Y represents his revenue in hundreds of dollars, and X represents the product's price in dollars. So this representation belongs to Easton. In this table, the X represents price, and the Y represents revenue. You'll learn more about this in econ, but revenue, to put it just very simply, is just how much money you made. We'll come back to that when we know what we're looking for. Graph. Luciano found that the following graph described his revenue. So this is Luciano's representation. As you can see, the x-axis is clearly marked, price in dollars, and the y-axis again is revenue. The question we're answering If they set their product's prices to $9, who can expect a higher return? If we set the product's price to $9, that means, hang on just a sec, that means that we're letting X be 9.
Louisiana.
Hang on.
Am I right?
Yes, but let me walk through the calculations.
That's calculations.
So looking at the graph, if X is 9, what is Y? 10. You find 9 on the graph, find where it meets the line, and our point is where Y is 10. And then we do the same on the table. Table's much easier to find. Where X is 9, Y is 6.96. So we're comparing the Y values to each other. And as you can see, Luciano's is higher. So yes, you guys were correct. Luciano can expect a higher return.
These questions are going to be on the test?
Mm-hmm. Good.